Hello everyone, Brandon with Strict Vision Athletics here with the product review of the King Keg. Yes, the long-awaited product review of the Keg. I'm a big fan of odd object training. I like implementing it into my circuits. I like throwing it even for people who may not have ever considered strongman or any of that kind of stuff. I like using objects that provide unique styles of resistance just based on the way that they are shaped or how they're performed. So the kegs definitely fit into that category. With kegs, you can do anything. You can do presses, you can do push-ups, you can do pulls, you can do any kind of row, you can do snatches, you can do cleans, you can do overhead press. Just about anything you can imagine in any movement pattern can be modified and used by a keg to a degree. That comes with a certain little caveat, I would say, which is that you have to have an understanding of the keg itself and how it works in order to perform it. It's not something a lot of people have practice with because it's not found in most gyms. So from that, I would always encourage caution when using this or any other odd object training. By their nature and certainly by their name, you can tell that it's going to be a little bit different than maybe something else you've done. The keg is no exception. So with that in mind, let's get into the product review. So any of you guys who follow us, you know that we do pricing, quality, usage, footprint, and customer service during our reviews. Let's start with pricing. The King Keg from Tribewad starts at $269. So $269 gets you this bad boy right here. Approximately, this thing weighs about 50 pounds by itself. So it comes in a big old box. It was very nicely shipped. Didn't come damaged. None of that stuff happened. So it's very nice. From that pricing, now this is a little bit tricky because again, this isn't a barbell. It's not a gym piece that you can compare to another gym piece. No, if you want to train with kegs, you have to price this against other kegs, either new or used. For the purposes of this, we only thought it was fair to compare a new King Keg to a new keg outside of the market. A new keg outside of this market is anywhere from $300 to $500. So $269 is actually a pretty darn good score. That's a good price for this kind of thing. And furthermore, this is designed for exercise. You got these nice handles that are designed to make your hands feel nice. They're kind of smooth. You've got the rubberized on the sides for when you drop it. You're not going to impact or ding your wood floor, nothing like that. So I'm going to give it a 7.8. I'm going to give a 7.8 for the pricing. I think that's very fair. Again, $270 may break the bank for some people, but if you're looking to get yourself a keg and throw that into your gym or implement it in your training, I would start by looking at Tribewide. I think it's a good place to go. Quality. So the quality of this, also outstanding. Not bad at all. You got a little chip here around the ring on the top, but honestly, it doesn't really matter, especially if you're throwing this thing around, you're dropping it, anything like that's happening. Most likely there's going to be some dings along the way. This bad boy actually came in pretty darn good condition, and it's real durable. That's what's cool about like this keg. It's just steel and plastic. You can leave this outside. You can put it in your gym. It looks nice, but it also doesn't mind being outside. It can get dirty, and it's easy to clean. So the quality, I'm going to give this a 7.9. Well done making this. It was a good product. I'm glad I got a hold of it. Usage. Now, the usage score is where I think this product will probably get its largest ding in score. Simply, well, for a couple reasons. The first is, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, odd object training is going to come with a certain level of experience that someone will need to have in order to safely perform exercises with this. This is not a beginner piece of equipment. In order to know how to use kegs safely and how to implement them into your training, you're going to probably have to do a little bit of research. At the bare minimum, you're going to have to do a YouTube tutorial, look these things up, find trainers that are using them, but you can certainly hurt yourself if you don't know what you're doing and you decide to come out and do power cleans with a keg. Power cleans with a keg are really hard, even if you're somebody who does power cleans normally. Just the size and the shape of this thing, it's hard to wield, it's hard to manage, all the weight is usually pulling you forward. It can be very dangerous. It's also not something that everyone will want in their gym for a couple reasons. The first is the weight and the size of this thing. Again, the difficulty level has to ding the score on usage because this thing weighs about 50 pounds. This is not something everyone is going to just be able to pick up and move around and use. It's not. It's limited. And this is empty. This thing can be filled with water. That's another thing I didn't mention when I was just talking about the quality and how you can periodize these tanks, make them really heavy. I don't know what this thing would actually weigh if it was totally full, but I know what it weighs when it has nothing in it at all. And this is not an easy thing to just wheel around. So if you are going to use these, keep that in mind when you decide to purchase or when you decide to leave it alone. So the usage for this, I'm going to give it a 5.1. 5.1, that's going to definitely be the biggest ding that this bad boy gets. It's just limited by everything that I just mentioned. Next, we have footprint. So really the best way I can describe the footprint for this thing is good, not great, if that makes any sense. It's not the biggest or most inconvenient piece that I've ever had in here. It's got about call it a 15-inch gap. It's a circumference. It is a big, odd object. It's going to stick out. You're not going to be able to hide this somewhere or hang it on the wall. It's got to have its own little area to go. It is nice that it can go outside. So if you guys are training outside, you can definitely throw them around in your backyard. So that's something that's really good. But the footprint, I'll give it a 6.4. Not the biggest and most inconvenient piece by any stretch of the imagination, but certainly not a subtle piece as well. It's going to require some square footage. Next, let's go to customer service. So TriWad has an interesting relationship with this particular categorization of scoring. We've had their hammers, we've had this, and we've had a lot of complaints over the years from different people who have purchased from them, particularly with the TriWad hammers, arriving late, very little customer relations, and arriving damaged. That was my experience when I bought the hammers from TriWad. That all changed when I got this. Our relationship with TriWad has certainly improved over the years. This is the second piece of equipment that we ever did get from them. This one came a lot sooner. It was not damaged. It was well packaged. And I can tell they're going out of their way to kind of overcome that reputation that they've made for themselves in the market. So I'm going to give the customer service to this company a 7.5. 7.5 for customer service. That's going to TriWad. TriWad, in collaboration with King Keg, is who brings you this piece right here. So this is the King Keg by TriWad, 7.5 for the customer service. Total score is 6.94. 6.94 score for the King Keg. Very good score. It's a good piece of equipment. Again, comes with the prerequisite of knowledge. You're going to have some in order to properly perform this, and you're going to have to probably do some research on your own in order to know how to move with it, what to do. And if you are somebody who's looking for this, you know who you are. Typically, the people looking for kegs, they know how to use kegs, or they're performing strongman, or they're some kind of a odd object trainer. So enjoy that. Hope that helps.